Good morning. It's coffee talk time, and we're going to start a little differently. We're going to play good news, bad news. I'm going to give.
This sounds like bad news.
I'm going to give you a scenario. So, okay, playing this game, good news, bad news. I'm going to give you a scenario, and you're going to say
right.
whether it's good news or bad news to
Okay.
you. So, Kevin, I'll start with you. You wake up and it's foggy outside. Good news, bad news.
Oh, bad news.
How about you?
That sounds like pretty good news.
Okay, so for you, it's
Wait,
good
what's
news.
the weather supposed to be like? Let's be clear. Because if you're talking middle of July, it's like, is the world ending? What's going on? But that generally is pretty good news.
And how come?
Because that's the best kind of weather.
Because you are an island guy and you like the fog, is that right?
Sure, there's also a little bit of Scottish DNA in there, going way back too. That's sort of like this is what my people live for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for you, it's bad.
Only because that's associated with being wet and cold. To which I say,
Yeah. And bad news for me too, because I'm sorry, Chris, but I went to your beloved island one time for a summer vacation, and it was foggy and cold, and I was just like, this is summertime. So. Yeah. So it's just associated with bad news for me too.
the other thing I think about too, being on the prairies, is fog, especially in middle of winter, is pretty nasty too, because then you can't see anything, and the roads are already slippery and stuff like that too. So fog is like.
Yeah.
Okay, 15 kilometers an hour on the number one highway.
Yeah. Okay, I got another
Right,
scenario.
but then you just learn, how to drive around a corner.
The one
so you
corner.
can see
The
how
one
good
corner.
news, bad news, it depends. Okay, so
Sure.
Chris,
Yeah.
you open your gift at Christmas and it's a brand new puppy. Good news, bad news.
For me or the puppy? It's 100% bad news for that puppy that's now feral.
Okay.
That'd be pretty horrible news.
So it's bad.
How does
news.
that even happen? Because, sorry, kids, Santa's not real. I know what's coming in the door.
Okay, so bad news to have a new puppy. How about for you, Kevin?
For a half a second or even for the day, that could be good news, because it would be like, oh, that's really exciting. And I think if we have nothing else going on, that's an excitement for the day. And then day two, it's like, oh, this is so much work.
Right, yeah. Until the dog chews apart all the other brand new gifts and has peed on everything.
But you know what? I think for that day, that could be a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah. All right. Good news, bad news. So we talked about on Sunday.
Wait, I have one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's September 1st, and you see Christmas trees and all that stuff ready and on sale at Costco. Good news, bad news.
Oh, my.
I'm thinking, they're late this year. It's usually
Because you're supposed to be celebrating Christmas every day. God with us every day.
Oh, yeah.
I think at this
Good
point,
news, bad news.
there's got to be a third option on that one, because I'm pretty indifferent. I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, here we go.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I was looking for a Christmas tree, it'd be good news.
Yeah, it could be on sale.
But this year, we cut down a tree in our yard and used it. It was so awesome. So, yeah. Good news, bad news. Having to cut down a tree in your yard.
Yeah.
It ended up being good news for us.
Very industrious of you.
Yeah,
Well done.
exactly. So, but anyways, good news, bad news. The reason we started that way is because on Sunday we talked about a song of Christmas. And one of the songs in the Bible that is around the birth of Jesus is Mary's Magnificat. And it's a well-known, used, like people have read it over and over again in congregations and gatherings. But we talked about how it's good news to some and bad news to others. So did you have any thoughts around that? I can keep going, but I've been talking for a while, so.
Yeah, I could see how, if the essence of what Mary is talking about, especially, that God opposes the proud and those who are against, those in lowly places. I could see how somebody like maybe Herod, if he understood what the gospel message was about as well, that it also came to free the captive and the slave and the downtrodden, how he would be very upset about that, and he would feel, very, what's the word? Like, it would give him a little bit of fear, and so for him to go out and kill all these babies in Bethlehem, in that area, right? Like, for him to be able to look at it and say, that is an opposition to my kingdom, for God is against me and the people are against me, and all of those things, like it would actually push up against him. And so, like, I look at it and I'm blown away how God cares for, especially the things that our world kind of says, well, that's not important at all. That's not worthy of praise. And the whole gospel message is actually kind of turning a lot of that stuff on its head, especially the rulers and kings and those in authority, that actually it's your job actually to lift up those who are in need and downtrodden. And I was blown away by that in the Song of Mary.
Yeah, no, I just ditto. I think we could just leave it there, but sure, I'll throw 2 bits in. I think it's only bad news if you worry more about personal kingdom than God's kingdom. And for those who feel like they've got to build their own whatever, then sure, I get how it's absolutely bad news. It's threatening, right? We got to think about where is there human threatening? Well, when we've got something to lose. But why do we have something to lose? Because we've probably put our stake in the wrong ground, right? We've built on something we shouldn't have. So, yeah. Well said, Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. It's a threat. If it's a threat, it's bad news. If God coming and opposing the proud, taking away the wealth, if you're wealthy, that's a threat.
Yeah.
If you're proud, that's a threat. If you're a ruler, that's a threat. Right?
Well, and then it goes to, right, and it comes back to, where is our security then? Is it in those things that we've built and we've amassed, in our wealth, in our position, in our status? Okay.
Yeah.
Then, but I can see, there's not just Herod in this who kind of thought it was a little bit of bad news, right?
No.
Even for Joseph, who didn't have all of that, but learns his fiance is with child. In the moment, I think we can also just say, hey, in the moment, it's almost never good news right away. Even for Mary, not right away, boom. She came on board really quick with the whole plan, and which led to that song. But even it takes sometimes the plans of God take a little bit of warming up. We got to kind of go, okay. Because in the moment it can be intimidating and it can be scary and it can be threatening. For whatever, God has called each of us to, sometimes we just got to sit with it for a bit before it becomes really good news.
Yeah, and I think part of that is just readjusting our trust, like recognizing, why is this bad news? Because I'm not in control. And I need to recognize that God is, and okay, he's got it, right? And
or we just have to make sure we're clear on what God has given us control of, because I think he does give us a certain amount of agency, right? That we have some things he says, now I'm going to trust you with that, now you go do that. And so but where we often, I think, feel threatened and where bad news really quickly creeps in is when we try and take hold of more. And
try to hold on to what we think is ours.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And right. So it's finding that right balance of, okay, God, how much have you given me actually to steward and manage and sort of be in charge of it? And how much is for me just to go, okay, God's got that, or God through somebody else has that, and we can just worry about our little bit.
Which takes us back to walking in the Spirit, which we spent a long time on.
We sure
this
did.
Fall. So
Well, because I think, but rightly so, right? Like we ended that by talking about the power of God's Spirit at work, right? And the power of the kingdom, and that's kind of what we see clashing here in Mary's song.
Exactly. We keep coming back to kingdom, God's kingdom and earthly kingdoms, because that's where we live. We live in the clash. We are of God's kingdom because we've been saved by the blood of Jesus. we're living in the kingdoms of the world, and it's not that it's a violent clash in a way, but it's not people against people. It's philosophy against philosophy. It's mindset against mindset. It's the way of the kingdom of God versus the way of the kingdoms of the world, and so we do keep coming back.
Which is why the last series actually is such a good lead up to this, because the Spirit at work in me is the Spirit working against all those powers and principalities and all of that, even when it's about me choosing, the right way or the wrong way, that God's Spirit actually would be bringing about all those good things in me and through me, but also that the Spirit is the one doing all that work, and it's the Spirit's power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You seem like you're biting your tongue. Should you keep biting your tongue, or do you want to let it go?
Let's let it go. I don't know. Yeah.
So, as you think about Mary's Magnificat, I guess the challenge, the invitation is to be a part of the good news. So if you are holding on to something, let it give it to God. And that becomes beautiful news, where he's your security, not this thing that can't be your security anyways, because he's in charge, whether we acknowledge it or not. But when we acknowledge it, we step into the beauty of all of this being beautiful and good news. So that's a little bit of the challenge. You can go back and watch Sunday, but we'll carry on with some things that are coming up this week. We're moving on to the next song on Sunday, but also on Sunday, do you want to tell us about Gifts of Hope? What's coming up on Sunday?
Yeah. So all this next week, this room, the sanctuary, is being used for an opportunity to actually give to our community, and so there is a giant amount of toys coming into this place that are going to be given to those who are in need. And so we are just simply the location. We are partnering with Renew Church, and they are coming Sunday right after church. We're going to pick up all the chairs, roll in some tables, bring in all the square tables, and have everything ready for them, so that in the afternoon when they come at like 1-ish, that we are ready to go, and they are just going to bring in all their stuff, and then throughout the whole week, people are going to be coming in kind of most of the day, almost into the evening, coming and getting some of these stuff. And the joy that we have too is to be praying for this entire opportunity, but even there's a few of us that actually have signed up to actually pray with some of these families that are in need, and to just say, what, God cares for you, and I hope you feel the love of Jesus through this Christmas season. And so that's happening from Sunday right after church all the way pretty much till clean up Saturday morning.
And if you are wondering if you can help, you can still sign up to help. Let us know here. We will get you in touch with the coordinator. They are looking for more people to pray with people before they go through, which is a great opportunity. We've all been a part of that. You pray just with a family, and it blesses them, and hopefully sparks an interest in, what is this about? But then they go through and they buy their gifts for their children. You could be a part of helping with that. So if you want to still help, please let us know. Something else that we have been asked by Salvation Army to get at Superstore when you walk in, or Walmart when you walk in, and various other places, they ring the bell for the putting money in donation for Salvation Army. This is one of their big fundraisers of the year, and they are needing more people to stand at those kettles. So if you can offer 2 hours sometime, let us know, and we'll connect you in that way as well.
That also was part of even what you brought up on Sunday was, if you're giving this much, maybe consider that God actually has blessed you to actually give more, and just consider that as an option.
Yeah.
And that's, that's kind of why we do see Christmas as a very charitable time. And yet it's all year round too. So, but this is it's a huge deal for Salvation Army, especially like it's a major fundraiser.
And they do so
we
much
need to
in
be
our
a part of that.
community. Yeah, they do so much in our community, and we want to be a part of giving to our community. So, so that's a good opportunity. Chris, there's a couple of things for youth and children coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think one of the ones I'm super excited about, maybe most excited, it's tough to say, is that on we have the kids production performance coming up in Sunday morning. I want to say the 17th.
17th.
And so the kids, we had the first practice this last Saturday. They are working hard, getting ready at that, and it's going to be a really fun morning. A time to not just watch them, but to think through, what they're presenting of the Christmas story, the way their take on the songs of Christmas. But then just some time to hang out after the service and connect with one another in those moments, or the dying week before Christmas is where as excitement for some is ramping up, and you're talking about good news, bad news, some are like, yeah, it's just getting closer, and others are like, it just needs to get over with. But it's good. It's a great time to connect and be together. So that's super fun. So make sure you're marking the 17th on your calendar so that you're here for that. Sure, there's the youth banquet coming up the next night and things like that for those who are in youth, and I feel like you're thinking there should be more to talk about, but
No, those were the two.
those were the
Thank
two?
you.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
good. And then Christmas Eve. We should probably tell a little bit about that.
Yeah.
You want to tell about that?
So Christmas Eve is on a Sunday. So that's
Yeah.
just a realization. I think that's maybe an epiphany to some of us at this point. So what that means is it's going to feel like there's two things going on that day, which there is. So Sunday morning is the fourth Sunday of Advent, the 24th in the morning. So we will be having a regular service here on the 24th in the morning. And then that evening at 6:30, we will be coming back here for a candlelight service. It is a different, separate service. So it's kind of like that's the fifth Sunday of Advent, or the celebration. So there's a candlelight service, 6:30 p.m. On the 24th.
And if you, like me, are looking around the room going, there's an awful lot of straw, come and celebrate with candles.
Don't make people
the evening on
afraid.
the
It's not
24th.
scary.
That's right, the fire marshal's going to watch this and go, there's what? But no, we're looking forward to
it's gonna be good.
a
Yeah.
really intimate celebration that night. It's going to be a wonderful night.
Yeah, so lots to look forward to. We're excited to be in the midst of all of it. So let us know again if you're ready to volunteer and help with Gifts of Hope or Kettle Campaign. And we're excited to see you on Sunday. Have a great rest of your week.